where the funding is going to come from. You're gonna come to us, and there's gonna be areas that you defined that there should be sidewalks or extension of sidewalks. I just don't see the funding. I thought there was a fund for this particular purpose. I'm finding out tonight, there's really not a fund for sidewalks.
There's never been enough money to
So-
build the sidewalk in that fund.
So,
Wait until you, Mr. Prisco, you'll get an opportunity to speak. Mr. Prisco?
And I, you bring up a lot of good points, Chris, and another point I wanted to make was, we have a lot of people in charge. We have a DPW director, we have a public safety officials. And I think if we have concerns like this, we document them, we send it forward, and let people do their job, let people lead. The DPW has some really smart guys that know about this issue. We have a CPC, who I have a tremendous amount of respect and confidence in. I think if we let the people that are around now that exist, we don't need to create something new, allow them to take this forward. And if you're not satisfied with the results of what you're seeing, then we try to adjust as we go along, but it's a leadership thing. Let the people that are in charge lead, let them take your issues and your issues, document the complaints, and do something about it with what we have. But to create something new when we have so many other issues, it just concerns me.
Well, there's so many other issues. We're supposed to have so many issues. We're supposed to have thousands of issues, and we're supposed to address all the issues. That's what we are here for. And we are here to not push people aside and say, this is not important. Apparently, the idea of the Pedestrian Safety Advisory Committee came to being because things were not being done. That's why it's existing. So you're asking to let what hasn't worked, work. And, we're getting to a point where you have people who are willing to step forward, who are willing to put their time in. They're not involved in the community as you are now, okay? They're willing to put their time in. Why? Because some of them are walking the streets and they know their life is at risk, all right? All they want to do is come up and make suggestions, advise, and you don't have to do a thing, okay? All you have to do is listen. And something might come up to you and might just say, that's a good idea, all right? Or most cases, it might be a good idea and we can't do anything about it, all right? I understand what you went through with the Fiscal Advisory Committee. I understand what happened there, all right? But you're looking at people here who understand the role of an advisory
Then if you
position.
understand, then why would you do this to
Okay.
anyone else?
What? Because, I'll tell you why, because it would be handled differently.
I take exception to that.
You should.
That I take
You can.
exception to.
You can.
I must, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry.
Okay,
It's-
go ahead.
But I take.
I haven't said anything yet.
I take no, you have. You said that you'll handle it differently than the FAC has handled it. I take exception to that.
Go ahead.
There was a very hardworking crew
Yes,
that volunteered their time.
yes,
Put a lot of effort in.
yes.
Came up with a lot of ideas
Yes.
that weren't accepted for a variety of reasons, all right? And some of those people decided at that point in time, there was better things they could do with their volunteering of their time than to sit on the FAC to present an idea that was fully investigated, that wasn't adopted. And it may have been for funding reasons. And I'm just suggesting to you is that's what you're setting your committee up for in this instance. There's just no way that I see this community being able to fund sidewalks. If you want to take on the bylaw, revise the bylaw, go for it. But I do take exception
Or hold the DPW
to the
director
insinuation
accountable.
that the FAC should have been handled differently.
I still don't think the bylaw should even be handled by this committee. I think it should be handled internally within town hall. Proposals brought to the board as to how we're gonna implement it, tweak it. I don't think we need a whole other study committee on this thing here.
No, but I think they can go out and expend some time and effort and
Yeah,
see what other communities have done. I mean-
We know there's we have a bylaw that we hadn't been enforcing. We started to enforce it. It highlighted a few more issues, which were good. We had to bring them forward. Now we need to address it. And we put out all the business owners on notice that come next year, be prepared to be fined and make sure you're clearing your sidewalks. But we still need to tweak it a little bit. We need to do it in concert with the business community and the property owners out on 28. And I don't
Well,
think we
you
need
know,
another
it's-
committee to do it. You know,
Steve, it's not even, from my perspective, the bylaw stands on its own.
Right.
Right,
That's
and
like-
enforcing it is a responsibility that we have. Right. There was an issue that came up that was related to the rest of those sidewalks that are kind of in no man's land, and an issue with respect to the DPW and what we want to do. And, from my point of view, there's two issues, right? I mean, if there's a group of people that want to get together, formally or informally, to propose a change to the bylaw, right?
They can do that
That's
anyway.
okay.
They don't need to do
They-
it with our charge.
Right.
Right.
That can
They
be
can do
done.
that anyway.
No, but I mean, if it
10
comes from our
signatures.
charge, then it kind of does get on the warrant.
Right.
If it's an independent ad hoc
Takes 10
citizens
signa-
group,
10
it takes 10 signatures to,
You know.
to put it on
But it's a
the
question of,
warrant.
what do we as a board want
But
to do as far as
I do
addressing the
think that the issue brought up associated with how the DPW is handling the sidewalks that the town should be taking care of needs to be revisited, and come up with a solution that, is reasonably fair. I mean, we look kind of silly. We tell all the businesses to follow the sidewalks, and then there's some area of town land that is
Yeah, it's
a
maintained.
pathway between these sidewalks, and it's not getting plowed, so, I'd like to see that piece of it done. This thing is kind of taken on, something well beyond what was original issue, so. And frankly, I don't want to put down anybody coming forth with ideas, but if every little thing that came to the board, every citizen came to the board with a little something that we had to address, we get nothing done. So somehow, we have to prioritize things, and we have to say, what are our priorities? What are the key things that we need to be working on? And, to that end.
And we don't need
I-
to form a study committee every time we
yeah,
need to look
to
at
the-
something.
And to that end, it's appropriate that we have another work session, revisit our basic vision, and set our priorities going forward. And it's probably something, well, it is something we should do annually. So I've asked Greg to schedule that for a second meeting in June.
I know Mrs. Robinson,
Yes.
she wanted to speak.
Yes, I'm
Has
sorry.
a lot to say, and also, she volunteers for a lot of things.
Right, so, no, I'm not trying to shut them out. Of course, they're welcome to speak, so.
Well,
Please do.
I would disagree with you about priorities, because one of the reasons that we have come together in this, Monica and myself mainly, and Mr. Yule, in regards to addressing this, is that there hasn't been a meeting of the minds in regards to how important sidewalks are in a community. The sidewalks, many of the sidewalks in the community that are town-owned are not kept up. There's no priority in regards to repairing sidewalks or even fixing them, the ones that we currently have. We weren't looking to steal money to get more sidewalks. We would like to get more sidewalks. The state of Massachusetts, DOT, has now put in a memorandum about increasing and mandating money that they give to cities and towns and throughout the state, sidewalk accessibility issues and improving sidewalks. There is money that is around in regards to sidewalks. It's a priority in regards to what you use your money that you get for your roads. Because a portion of that money is available to use for sidewalks. It's a choice. Do you spend it on this, or do you spend it on that, or use it for this, that, and the other thing? The choice has not been for sidewalks in North Reading, for good or bad reasons, whatever. But there's been a choice made. It's not, we don't have the money. We'll never have the money to do everything that we all want to do. But we are constantly making choices of what we are spending the money that we have on, of what's important and what's not. And sidewalks have not been a high priority within this town, and other communities as well, it's not just North Reading. But it's very frustrating that I can't walk down in the winter to CVS, which is I can throw in a stone and reach it, because I have to drive because I can't access it due to snow accessibility issues. Or if the sidewalk is not repaired, my sidewalk's fine there, but there are choices that have been made, and I find it frustrating that it's not being, covered in the town. And, one of your, comments during your election, Mr. Prisco, was if we keep repeating it, the same thing over and over again, that's causing that's what I feel that we've been doing, especially with this conversation over and over again. I think there has to be more coordination of what the town should be looking like, highlighting different pedestrian issues, not just that we need sidewalks and that it costs money, but how do we work with what we have and try to prioritize what should be done. And I just think that sidewalks have been a low priority, because there are other things to do, but it's very important to many people in this community. And I state, you could talk to me on the commission, I'm the chairperson of the Commission on Disability. I tell people, North Reading is not a town you wanna have a disability or you can't drive, because it's not a good town to live in. There's no transportation and it's not very walkable. And, I don't want that to occur when I become, older. I would like to age in place here. I will not age in place here. I know I'm not gonna do that, at this point in time. And there are a lot of people that wanna stay in this community. They will not be able to. I don't think that's right.
Thank you. Mr. Prisco has a question for you.
Have you ever addressed any of these concerns with our DPW director directly? Have you contacted him?
Well, not the new one.
I've actually been in contact with him on a number of issues and have had some success getting something solved. For instance, at the corner of 28 and Winter Street, I'm a walker, I'm a dog owner, so every day I'm walking down the street with a yellow lab, so I have to walk him or we'll all just be miserable. Anyway, at that intersection, as well as the one at, what is that? Park and 28, I remember pressing the pedestrian signal and I timed it. And I waited approximately 3 minutes for one and longer at the other one. And I watched these signals for the cars cycle several times, yet the walk signal never came for me. I was forced to walk across the street. I had SUVs coming around me, people being angry at me saying, it says don't walk. Well, it never cycled. I reported that. And finally, earlier this week, I tried it and I did have a solution there. We need to find a better way for citizens to report problems, so we can be involved in that. I also provided a list of 3 items which the advisory committee could do, which involves education. People just need to be aware of common sense. There's a lot of people that walk in the street. Again, I live on 28. On my way to the meeting, I dodged a jogger who was running up 28, which people drive about 50 miles an
Wasn't you,
hour.
Jeff?
It was not, I looked.
It was Joe.
It
was Joe.
One time where there was a teenager, again, in Route 28, about 9:30 at night, I think it was in February. I managed to swerve out of the road, but he was on his way wherever people go. It's a major safety issue. I don't want to hit someone. I don't want to see anyone else die. In the past 10 years, we saw a 20% increase in our population. What are we doing to provide for the needs of this growing community? There's some things we can do in the meantime that cost no money. Yes, it's going to cost money to get sidewalks. There's state funding, there's federal funding out there. You have to get in line. Are we in line, or are we just saying, it's not a priority? So yes, some things cost money and some things don't.
If I may continue with that thought, you have people who have supported the idea, okay, such as the schools, police department, disabilities, the business community. The idea is to go forward, to fit in to the direction that the town is looking to go. And as we grow, again, these sidewalks are going to become more and more important to the safety of the entire community. We're not talking about a select group of people. And you have individuals that are willing to volunteer their time. They're going to go off, brainstorm, come up with ideas, every once in a while, share them with you, and that's that. It'll have nothing, no negative impact time-wise from anything that we do, from anything that another committee does.